Juan Francisco Picos Barrueta, alias El Kiyo, who was sentenced to 32 years in prison for the murder of the journalist Javier Valdez in July 2017, accused Damaso Lopez Serrano, also known as El Minilik, of deceiving and betraying him, and putting his life and the life of his family at risk, according to an information reported by the Mexican outlet Rio 12. In a letter published in the media, El Kiyo recounts that Damaso Lopez Serrano had agreed that they would turn themselves in together to the authorities in the United States. However, he says that El Minilik abandoned him and his brother Mario Alberto Nungaray Bobadilla, alias El Liebre, in Mexico. El Kiyo claims that he took Damaso to La Paz, Baja California Sur, with his brother El Liebre, and then Damaso told them that they will turn themselves in to the DA in Calexico, and that they would go with their families and everything would be okay, according to El Kiyo. But around 4 p.m. on July 27, his wife called him asking how he was doing. She told him that the man he works for, Damaso Lopez Serrano, had already turned himself in to the authorities in the United States. El Kiyo said that him and his son went to meet with La Liebre, where he saw him crying and said that El Minilik had abandoned them. According to Rio 12, the letter dated February 17 is part of a civil lawsuit filed in the U.S. District Court in California, in which El Kiyo is now suing the United States government and the Drug Enforcement Administration, as well as Immigration and Customs Enforcement. He claims they put his life in danger after they extradited both of Damaso Lopez, the son and the father, who they say, together with Ivan Archibaldo Guzman Salazar, have tried to kill him already. He accuses the authorities of abuse of power and causing harm to third parties. He also asked for asylum in the United States, writing the following: I request asylum from the United States immediately. I fear for my life and the life of my immediate family because of the death of the journalists that I never killed, while the ones that are responsible are the crime are protected by the DA. According to Rio 12, Picos Barrueta also described his time within the Sinaloa cartel. He said that in 2006 he became part of the security team of Vicente Zambada Niebla, also known as El Vicentillo. After El Vicentillo was arrested in 2009, El Kiyo was asked to work as a bodyguard for Rodrigo Arechiga Gamboa, also known as El Chino Antrac, and also for Ivan Archibaldo Guzman, but he refused at that time. Later, he began working for Damaso Lopez Núñez, known as El Licenciado. In the letter that El Kiyo sent, also gives his version of how El Minilik and the sons of Joaquin El Chapo Guzman, the Chapitos, broke their alliance and started a war between them. According to him, everything was fine until December 31st, 2016, when Damaso Lopez Serrano and Ivan Archibaldo Guzman got into a fight during a party at a ranch called Portezuelos. They threatened each other and were forced to leave the ranch. And that was the argument that started everything. Later, a meeting of cartel leaders was held. Even though El Chapo was already a fugitive, he allegedly appeared in the meeting organized by Ismael El Mayo Zambada. At that meeting, the territories were divided. Ivan Archibaldo Guzman kept Culiacán and Damaso Lopez Núñez kept El Dorado. However, Ivan later entered El Dorado forcefully because he heard of an alliance that El Minilik had allegedly made with the Ciudad Juárez cartel with Cesar Carrillo Leiva, son of Amado Carrillo Fuentes. And because they became friends, they had a problem now. The conflict began in Mezquitillo, south of Culiacan, where gunmen loyal to Damaso clashed with Ivan Archibaldo's forces because the area belonged to El Mayo Zambada. He warned them to stop fighting there, and the clashes would now be headed into Culiacan. Later, El Mayo held another meeting to calm the tensions and had an agreement that was reached through both factions. Months later, however, Ivan allegedly convinced Damaso's son, David Lopez El Pollo, to betray his father's location. According to El Kiyo, on May 2nd, 2017, Damaso Lopez Núñez was captured in Mexico City by Mexican Marines, who El Kiyo claims were influenced by Ivan Archibaldo. After the arrest of El Licenciado, Minilik was in El Dorado, preparing for war against Ivan. El Kiyo says that Ivan bribed Marines and soldiers and began eliminating Damaso's gunmen, causing them to lose communication and territory. Because of the violence, El Mayo Zambada became angry and called for another meeting. He summoned both Ivan and Damaso, but Damaso refused to attend, in fear of him losing his life. El Kiyo claims that Damaso also told him that he would secretly record El Mayo, and that if they lost the war, they will turn themselves into the United States and expose both El Mayo and Ivan. Afterwards, El Kiyo says El Mayo told them that if they surrender, all of Damaso's men will now work under him and their lives would be respected. El Kiyo says that later he took El Minilik and his brother to a property leading to La Paz, Baja California Sur, while Minilik traveled by airplane. They later met at a private house in Mexicali, where they spent 5 days planning how they will turn themselves in. And Minilik ordered El Kiyo to hire 30 men, which he did. They also began buying drugs and weapons through American contacts that they had. They moved to a ranch near the Mexicali airport, where the families of Damaso and Kiyo arrived. Minilik then told Kiyo they will turn themselves into the DA at the Calixico border crossing at a hotel in Mexicali. Kiyo says he met 2 DA agents and the meeting lasted about 3 hours in the hotel in Mexicali. And on July 27, 2017, El Minilik told El Kiyo, "Let's run and go turn ourselves in." They drove near Plaza Cachanilla in Mexicali. Minilik got out of El Kiyo's truck and entered another vehicle. He told El Kiyo that his cousin, El Liebre, will give him money and said his father, Damaso Lopez Núñez, sent greetings to him. He left and said he would call him shortly. Kiyo says he waited for the call, but instead of him receiving a call by El Minilik, he received the call of his wife, who called him and told him that El Minilik had already surrendered himself to the DA at the Calexico border crossing, leaving him and La Liebre behind in Mexicali. Later, Kiyo claims that man loyal to Ivan Archibaldo kidnapped his uncle while looking for him. He then contacted Ruben Payan's son of Genaro Payan Quintero, El Gringo, a cousin of Rafael Caro Quintero, who at the time were cartel leaders in Quintana Roo, in hopes that they will protect him. Days later, while driving towards Tijuana, El Kiyo says he was arrested in a special operation by the Mexican Organized Crime Unit, AIC, allegedly ordered by Ivan Archibaldo. He claims El Mayo Zambada ordered that he be handed over to the federal police, who took him to Tijuana. Kiyo says that while he was there, officers placed old weapons inside his truck to stage evidence against him before arresting him and taking him to the federal prosecutor's office in Mexicali. El Kiyo wrote that the prosecutors told him he will not be released because the organized crime unit and the Marines wanted him either dead or in jail. During his trial, prosecutors argued that Picos Barrueta was one of the 3 gunmen who carried out the murder of the journalist Javier Valdez, and that the intellectual author of the crime was Damaso Lopez Serrano. El Kiyo ended his letter saying the following: I survive only on the food my family sometimes brings me and the prison food that I receive. I have no lawyer, no money, and I have not received any support from anyone. Ever since Damaso Lopez Nunez abandoned me in prison, I have been forgotten.